Hello and welcome. It is sunny Santa Monica. This is very Night Rider music. I like this. Yeah, this is like, what's that French electro? Ooh, give it to me. Carpenter Brut and all that. But it is Santa Monica, very far away from France, and this is where all the action is happening. That's a very busy beach, damn it. But there are some quiet ones as well around here, from Venice Beach to Newport Beach. This is pretty juicy stuff. I like it. Welcome to Santa Monica. We are here with Dan, as per usual. Hello, Dan. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm good. We just got back from Moscow yesterday.
We did indeed. Straight here from Moscow. Very fun. Love being on planes, me. Always free vodka. That is great, at least for me. Robin,
hey,
welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a while since we were in our office here.
It has been, yeah. I was talking about it, like it's been, I think, 2 years. This used to be just FACEIT sales office, and then now it's a fully fledged studio. It's
yeah,
cool.
We've got a studio in here as well, so it's a multifaceted operation we've got going on here. Nice to have you back as always. Welcome. This is going to be a fun one, I think. So we have a lot of change. Obviously, has happened, and is happening in Counter-Strike at the moment. Obviously, we have the announcement from Fnatic that Flu is back in the roster, as well as Golden. Those guys aren't going to be on the mainstream today. Avangar have been running pretty hot at the moment. They came second at the major. They just won Blast in Moscow, and they're going to be going up against Virtus.pro. We'll get into the full detail very shortly, but that's going to be the first juicy game that we have on the broadcast. We haven't seen VP for a while as well, so not sure what to expect from them. In fact, I suppose we could have a look at the bracket and see exactly what is going on. So Avangar versus Virtus.pro will be our first match on this stream. Heretics and Fnatic will be with the community commentators, so you can have a look at that. We did do an interview. Freya, the lovely Freya, did an interview with Golden, which we will try and squeeze out a little later on. But those two games will be happening simultaneously. Forza and Ambush on the other side, obviously. Forza running hot as well. They are good for upsets, but I suppose we'll talk more about them when there's time. And how do you say this, Fifi?
I knew that you were going to throw me under the bus here. We were talking about it. I think it's Happelinos, and I think that the way that they would say it in Swedish would just be like Happelino. But I knew Dan would love that.
Okay.
But I have no idea.
I'm surprised
honestly.
it's not Yapelinos, because
it might be.
Because James is James, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yapelinos.
Maybe it's Yapelinos. Let us know what you think. Happelinos versus Heroic is going to be the second game on the broadcast here today, so Forza will be on the second stream. So there's going to be a lot of action. I'm interested to see the Yapelinos. Maybe I'll just go with that.
I mean, they're obviously tier 2 in Sweden, but they actually have a lot of good players, so it's going to be interesting to see them matching up against Heroics or Heroic. They're obviously supposed to be better, but it's considering Snappy just joining us at our Freiburg, I don't know. These guys do have potential for upsets, so we'll see.
All right, so Happelinos, Lapianos, or whatever. Tell us what you think it is. We can use the social media bits and bobs. You can tweet us at ECS, and I don't know. I guess what do you do with the FACEIT one? I guess you're not going to find nudes in there. We got no girlfriends of Instagram or boyfriends of Instagram or anything like that. But you might find other interesting things on there. So check it out. And obviously, the YouTube is where all the VODs are going to be. Happelina. Okay, we'll get to that one later. We got time.
Now, yeah.
We got time. We can focus on the first game. But before that, we need to look at a recap of how the guys in the Pinnacle Cup, the guys and gals, have done. Because we're going to see a few of them in these coming weeks. So let's take a butcher's hook.
Last week, the Pinnacle Cup returned for ECS Season 8. Competition was fierce, so here's a quick rundown of all the action that went on. Finishing at the top of the scoreboard were Tricked and Big. Two teams secured a 3-0 victory to lay their hands on the top seeds. Unsurprisingly, Big's Tabson had a stellar showing, with the squad not dropping a map throughout their entire run. Although Heroic initially faltered against Tricked, they turned their fate around against Seven and Spirit, managing to secure the third seed, with Mix showing a similar fate coming in fourth and the French side of Heretics returning to come in fifth. Finishing with a 3-2 run were Wendigo, Espada, and 7 Esports. Although Wendigo would take down Espada in round 2, the Russian squad were no match for Ambush, returning to clinch their 7th place seed. Force, Ambush, and Team Spirit would finish in the lower half of the table 2-3, with Berry's boys falling to Force in round 1 and continuing to struggle against Espada and Heretic. Although Sprout's run initially started off strong with a 2-0 win over the Frenchmen of Heretic, they would eventually wind up in 13th after failing to take down Force and Wendigo. 14th seed would see Hapolino with a 1-3 scoreline, before finally seeing Blue Jays and Crazy both finish with an unfavorable 0-3 run. However, with both Season 7 finalists rising from the ranks of the Pinnacle Cup, never discount an underdog.
Marvelous stuff there. I love the Freya
Voiceover?
voiceovers. Yeah, I was gonna say over
she has a
voice.
great voice for
She
it.
does. She does.
Very
She's got like
relaxing.
a bedtime story voice. So when she has children one day, do people still do that? Do you read your cat's bedtime stories?
What I do with my cats, James. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
you-
maybe
you-
on occasion, you know, maybe if I find a good little today I learned on Reddit, you know.
What are your cats like? Because on Sue's Instagram, on Smix's Instagram,
like
you can
food.
see they like
Clearly.
just like lying
Yeah.
like this.
They don't do a whole lot. I think that's the purpose of ragdolls, you know, like they just follow you around, they meow a lot.
Yeah,
They lay and they eat food. You know? It's great.
it's
It's like
pretty,
very low maintenance. If you want a pet, like cat's great.
pretty good life for a cat.
Yeah. Just get a ragdoll or at least not a stray, I was gonna say, but not one of those forest cats or whatever farmers cats that, you know, like to be outside. They tend to be very aggressive if you just leave them inside.
Okay.
What about ocelots?
Ocelots.
Yeah. How are they? I want an ocelot.
I don't
Are
think
look
those the
amazing.
leopard one? No.
Yeah, there's the Bengals, I think.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah.
ocelot?
It's similar. They kind of look like wildcats almost,
Okay.
but they're like tiny.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at the matchup today. At least I was asking him about cats he actually has, as opposed to just tell me about cats.
Hey man, let's talk about cats.
Robin.
We'll learn something new today. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
We've got the veto to come in this first match here. It's coming shortly. So
But you said we're doing Avangar
Yeah.
Virtus.pro.
so yeah, we're doing Avangar versus Pro. I think that's going to be the most competitive match of the two.
I agree.
Obviously, if Fnatic win their match, then we'll see plenty of them on the main stream. But you can tune into that if you want to as well. Be out, I guess. We've always got the community out there doing things, which I really I like that. We're kind of providing opportunity because some people, you always see these threads were like, oh, you know, I want to get into commentating. I don't know how to like commentate matches or find IPs and so on. So it's pretty.
This is a
open
great
to do that.
idea.
Yeah.
Like you're right, because like it was different back in the day when the Go TVs were just available. You can just go in every time you wanted to and just cast a game, right? And then sure, if you're good enough, maybe you get viewers. Nowadays, that's not the case. Like the Go TVs
Just
do
bring it
tend
out
to
then.
be hidden because of, you know, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And then just to get the opportunity, like you're saying, to potentially cast a game, and it's not tier 10 Counter-Strike, right? It's at least, you know, tier 2, maybe tier 1 Counter-Strike in a setting in which, you know, somewhat trying to succeed, you know, trying to make yourself something out of yourself. I think this is a great opportunity.
Speaking of great opportunities, I was hoping we would see Mirage because I like seeing Mihu and Mirage on the CT side. He's one of the more interesting players to try and give people at home something to look at and learn from. Mirage, Dust 2 and Inferno. No Vertigo Madness just yet. That's a solid group of maps. Two nice open maps in Inferno, which is a very common decider. So I don't think anything's too crazy here.
I think most notably, I think what surprised a lot of people at the major was that Avangar, although statistically they were pretty poor in Mirage, they absolutely smashed Vitality on it, who statistically were incredible in Mirage. So at this point, I think, and Dust 2 as well, we know Avangar have a really lethal T side on Dust 2. It's difficult to disrupt them. Very few teams, I think really only NRG at the major were able to really do that effectively, and it still required a bunch of risk and very high level individuals. So I feel like again, we know less about where Virtus.pro are right now because we've seen so much Avangar, but it feels like it's very favored for Avangar.
Okay, and now we're into the Pinnacle predictions. So actually, Robin's the first one on there. So Robin, what do you think? Where are you going with this?
I think for me at least, it's very clear that Avangar is really clear favorites.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I haven't seen VP play in a long time. I think that they failed recently just to qualify for New York. I'm not sure if they're still in the running, but they haven't been great. Actually, no, they're still in the running, I think, because they did have some decent score lines versus like Tricked and stuff like that. But we haven't really seen them against these tier 1 teams. But I mean, this is a great first step. I think Avangar is playing some really cool Counter-Strike at the moment. So we'll see what kind of what stuff the VP and especially Snacks have in store for us.
Before I get into my prediction, I just need to say that we went to a coffee shop before we came here, and I randomly picked up a bag of popcorn, but it was cheesy popcorn, and now my mouth smells of cheese. I'm not really happy with this, but I'm going to pick Avangar. Dan, what about you?
Was it what? Why? What's the deal with the popcorn thing?
Dan's going to pick Avangar as well. We ain't got time for this.
Yeah.
Sliggy, who are you picking?
Well, hello. I'm not that adventurous, so I'm going with Avangar as well.
Sliggy is not that adventurous. It's almost like he's trying to slowly build a dating profile. That's the first one. He's a shy boy. He's not that adventurous, you know. But he's, if you want him, he's out there, I think. Anyway, I don't know what his status is. I don't really check with the staff. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Do you know what? I had a really sick transition into the Pinnacle stuff, but we can do it before the Pinnacle odds come in. But I think we've got some fan predictions from the chat and so on. Let's see where they are feeling.
Okay.
It's pretty 50-50. To be honest with you, I would assume that the
Surprising.
VP brand would have a bigger percentage there. But before we get into the main odds, okay, we need to go to top down cam because I've got a new item. I bought loads of t-shirts, but here, okay, I've bought this pen. Is called an embassy pen. Okay, you can't really see it, but just about here it says USA. So this is a pen that staff would give people who worked in embassies. Basically, it's a big pen. It's got that space cartridge, so you can write in any direction on it. But the main thing is that it's made from brass, and it's a pretty heavy pen. Okay, so you might say that it's the pinnacle of pens. Moving into the odds now with Pinnacle. Oh, damn. All right. So the thing is, right, the purpose of it being heavy is that, yes, it's a pen, but also if you're in a sticky situation, you could use it as a weapon. Here, feel it, Robin.
Oh wow, it's
Right?
super heavy.
It's a pretty heavy pen, isn't it? So this is the kind of thing that
you can kill someone with this.
You probably
like if
could.
you throw it at him, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could KO someone if you hit
This
him in a
is
temple.
this is really weird. Like today, my Uber driver was talking to me about
Would
killing
you like to
people
feel my
with
pen?
pens. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I was just like, how did we get here?
It's a heavy
And
brass pen.
then he pulled out his pen. He's like, here's this pen. You just start doing. He started doing this. I'm like,
It's
I was
only-
just like, okay,
only for
cool,
pen
cool,
savvy.
cool, man.
This is
That's really cool.
this is more for blunt trauma. Speaking of blunt trauma, maybe you could. I don't know how that transitions, but anyway, let's look at the Pinnacle odds and see where they are standing on this one or sitting. So I mean, these guys, they want some promo, right? How about that for some promo? Blunt trauma, stabbing people with pens, and general themes of murder. Well, it seems that Avangar are a heavy favorite. And the thing is, the weird thing about this for me is that I feel like Avangar are, I think with certain styles and where teams are, I feel like there could be an upset in this. We haven't seen much from Virtus.pro, but I know that they're comfortable on Mirage. Obviously, they're still trying to build and get back to where their brand used to be. But if you've spied some Virtus.pro games that we haven't seen, then maybe there's a chance. Maybe I think there is potential for a surprise to be had in this particular matchup.
Yeah, I think Snatchy is like the Jame of this of Virtus.pro. I think his ceiling's really high. I think we just haven't really quite seen him have an opportunity still yet. So yeah, we'll see how they go. We've of course got Virtus.pro looking towards that B bomb side. They've dropped the bomb in the B apartments actually, so they are just teasing, trying to get some information. It seems. See, Snatchy's the one leading the charge there, and indeed they're trying to suggest that they're going towards B, and they've got two players in the underpass ready to duel anybody jumping out of the window. But Avangar is just holding. They're holding their ground. It's a nice little setup.
Sanji, not Lozji, I guess that's his FACEIT name. He will get taken out quickly towards the B apartments, getting curious, starting to push, but now he's dead. This does not look like a good pistol round for Avangar, losing all the jewels. Two P250s from Virtus.pro in the pistol round. You really do love to see that. And now they've got two USPs to go along with it, so there's plenty of range to be had. Kika trying to defend from the pillar. Can't do too much. Buster really patient, but he's got two more to find. He's got footsteps from Mihu, but a headshot from Snacks. And there is a pistol round for Virtus.pro. For the longest time, back to the Taz days, they were a team who you would see lots of utility used in a pistol round, even three people with grenades. So they've always been, or for the longest time, they've been very aware in the pistol rounds, and two P250s makes me very happy at least.
You don't see that all too often, especially two P250s, but on maps like Mirage, Dust 2, Train, it kind of makes sense because of the distance that you get between the duels. Like, you can really use those weapons to your advantage.
Yeah, it's such a P250 is like, it's so cost effective. It's pretty nuts. I like the triple nade idea here. We'll have to see how Avangar activate it. There goes one. So towards top mid effectively, from behind the smoke. I like that. It's cool. Not going to work out for them though. I'm really enjoying that more teams are finding nade setups. Oh, hello, Keycut. Finds himself some damage. But I feel like, given how long CSGO has been going, I feel like we haven't seen enough teams really innovating with that. We're seeing it more and more
Not at all, yeah.
in the last year, but
There's some very common spots like Dust 2 on Catwalk, for example, the double nade on the staircase, which is, you know, it's been around forever, but there hasn't been a lot of, you know, looking into where do people like to play in spots where, you know, you could potentially double nade.
Yeah.
Banana, obviously, on Inferno as well, but they're easy spots versus, you know, like you're saying, the kind of new way of throwing nades and stuff that Astralis put in, like really thoughtful of, hey, let's go in, watch the demos, make sure, we'll take a look at where people like to play, and we'll gamble, right? And in most cases, you know, they're right.
Yeah, and especially the early phases of the round, it can be quite predictable how teams will play it. Now we'll see Virtus.pro. They will get a full buy-in here, full nades, couple galils, but they're going to be rushing into this A bomb site. It will be set piece, and Kiko's just playing retake here. So Avangar, they were trying to be safe against a fast B play, and playing retake on this bomb site is not too bad. But the problem is they don't have a lot of retake utility remaining.
Do you see the smoke underneath the shadow position? It's
oh,
something,
they've done it again.
It's something which, yeah, you see it there. It's something which Sean Gers pointed out at the major. They often do in response. There was a Molotov there, and I suppose if you throw smoke into that Molotov, then there could be somebody in that position, so you can try and punish the Ts for clearing that out from somewhere else. I suppose if you stand on the box by a toll booth, maybe you would see over the smoke and see somebody. But anyway, they're going for the retake now. Bus has made his way into the Palace position. This is a three-pronged assault with a late push from Jame in jungle, so this could be very, very dangerous. A 5v5 retake, but Snacks has made it a lot worse with a 3k. Buster to try and fight back, but he'll get traded. Snacks has done a great job. Jame has an angle, but he won't get the defuse.
Oh, it's too early for this. I wasn't ready for that.
I thought he would get max 2.
Yeah, the first 2 looked super clean, and then that transfer was like it just instantly killed that third guy. Let's take another look. Really clean. Oh man, Snacks is looking good, and that's the thing too. We haven't really seen Snacks. Obviously, for you know, 2016, 2017, 2015, like Snacks was such a huge name, but really dropped off. As VP started to drop off, as Snacks then went into Mouse Sports, we just didn't really see the same kind of top 5 level player in the world that he was. So I think it's easy to sleep on him now. So I'll be curious to see if he's rejuvenated his hunger and his motivation and really shows his level again with this team.
That's a very smart round by VP as well, by the way. Third round of Vanguard, knowing that they're not going to have a lot of utility, just doing the A executors fast too, right? And then retake in there, being ready for it. Quick 3-0.
Battle sniper mode. Jame in a forward position. See, VP very aware. But what can they really do about this? Sanji's now smoked off the position, trying to take a gun without being sprayed through. That's why he's being really careful, but the E button didn't really give him what he wanted. But now Virtus.pro, what do they choose to do? Do they read that the AWP might rotate towards A? Do they gamble towards B? Seems they're going to look towards ladder and connector at the same time. With a minute on the clock, the smoke is up. Keycad is close to the smoke. A lot of advantage to be had here. James still staying on the B bomb site for now. And there's 50 seconds left for Virtus.pro. They need some kills.
They absolutely do. And a 1-for-1 is enough here for Avangar, because if there's just 2 players left, things get really difficult if the bomb's not planted yet. Buster, can he get 1? Oh, he's trying to line it up there. It's a bit laboured, but he'll take down 2, and that's surely more than enough. 30 seconds to go for Mihu. And now they just try to buy time. Mihu has to grab the bomb. It's in the open. He's got to go and plant that. It's on him to make those moves. And so Avangar need to wait for that. Oh, dear. Okay. Mihu, I don't know how he's alive, but he's only got 24 HP, so any bullet will do it, and Jane will finish him off with the AWP. Great round from Avangar. Again, it's super hard if you lose 2 players on an anti-eco and you've got no positioning.
Yeah, I mean, it was great from Avangar there, just pushing into B Palace, getting the 2.
Yeah, it was
VP,
awesome.
it's not that they did anything wrong, it was just a regular default, just making sure that they don't get pushed. But we still have money on VP side.
Yeah, solid stuff. So we saw some examples. I don't recall if it was at the major or if it was in Moscow now, where some Ts were walking into those angles in B apartments where you're susceptible to a pixel play from a seat in a balcony, for example. But Virtus.pro always aware, running past the angle. Jane with a warning shot on the ramp, close one. Mac 10 and a Desert Eagle for Virtus.pro. It's not a perfect situation for them, and it looks like they will try to isolate players who choose to stay on the site with these grenades and go for a post-plant play.
I actually do think that Avangar probably has this one in the books this time around, though. A lot of utility. Playing a little bit more aggressive this time around, too.
Such a strong position, isn't it? Kika actually doesn't win the fight against Mihu. There's the smoke to make things a little bit more difficult for Virtus.pro. Should buy time. Nice kill from Adren as well to remove Snacks from the equation. Although he'll go down. I think that's a very key kill, actually. And through the smoke, James going to die also. So a couple very fortunate frags from Virtus.pro, I think, have most likely secured this round for them, as Avangar don't really have a chance to get back in there. So I mean, Buster could maybe be a bit sneaky, but considering the positioning of Virtus.pro, it's kind of ideal to deal with him, unless he gets a free one on Sandwich, which perhaps he might.
I was going to say, Sanji could actually smoke the ramp from his position. Or does he go down the ladder? No, he's going to go for the multi-frag. Snatchy will trade. Still 2 players alive, and Sanji will save the AWP, as he often does. I've got so many notes from like the last month and a half in terms of things that happen in games which I just want to look at demos of, but generally speaking, like I have been singing the praises of Sanji recently. I don't think people are bored of it just yet, but they will be soon, I promise you. But just like the role he has for Avangar is so interesting. We talk about support players and so on, which, you know, may or may not exist from team to team. I think it's not that simple on a lot of teams. But if you look at the way he plays and the way he's always got the MP9, like playing around.
I saw he had the most kills with that too, right?
Yeah.
MP9 and Mac.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, what's interesting is like with some teams, this is a fast boost.
I love this.
I watched a Super Stittum video where he speaks about that, this boost actually, but he's got a really weird accent in that video, I've got to say. It's like he's trying to be British, but it just sounds really weird. Anyway, there's a fast boost to help see people going to connector, so you can shoot them in the chest rather than just releasing their head.
Well, perhaps James understood that because he had a really strong like right eye peek to deal with that. They couldn't even see him.
I want to say that the example demonstrated was James. So yeah, snipers always have to be aware of
the meta.
Yeah, exactly. Like they will be trying to do these things, so they'll be looking for them as well.
Do you feel, here's a question for you guys. Compare this Avangar team to a Gambit, right? I think that similarities are, you know, there. Compare that to the major win from Gambit and at least the final from Avangar. Do you think that Avangar will slump the way that Gambit did now?
I actually don't think that they will.
Hold on,
I feel like the individuals from Avangar is a little bit better in a sense. Even if they fall off where people start watching them a little bit more, you still have some individual performances.
This round has completely changed. Like it looked over, but Adren jump peeked in the window, got taken out, and then there was a trade attempt in the connector, and it completely opened up the round when it should have been shut down. And now we find ourselves in a 2 versus 2, Veggie and Mihu trying to get to that CT position. Mihu though, maybe he's not trapped after all. I was going to say he is, but he won't get an angle in that smoke. He'll change his position. Veggie has no support flash. Mihu's the one with the flash, but I'm sure he'll prioritize AWP. And there's a simple 2-man setup. Mihu's left side is covered by Veggie. He just needs to hold his position, but he's not sure if anyone's coming in CT. It's a very slow push. Kick it with a grenade. Does he swing? There's still a gap for him. The pre-fire. And James, the round is over. That is such a crazy turnaround. I was going to say, actually, in regards to your question, Robin, is that like at the beginning of the major, some of the games on Mirage, with Adren being relatively new to Avangar, it looks like he was struggling around the connector position. We saw him in the window, but this is how it started. It was 5 versus 3, and they tend to do this sometimes, where they just have a guy like jump past an angle with their knife out. James does it from time to time. It looks really precarious, but I really feel like that round was just thrown away. Like they kind of took the mid position for granted. At least get a flash in there if you want to reposition, if you feel like you should be somewhere else, because that risk has led to this position where they were in a 5 versus 3 for only the second round, and now they're down 1-5, and again it's the hero AWP. Yeah,
sometimes playing by the book is too expected. I don't know if in a situation like this you'd want to. Well, I mean, that's the point for another moment, because we do have a quick push coming in onto the B-bomb side here. Sanchi will get a defensive smoke down. The P250 will dink Veggie, and he's taken him out. This is not bad here from Sanji. He's done quite a lot of work. James as well catches one going out the window. He'll get traded, but it is a 2v2. There are guns, perhaps, to be collected. The bomb is down, so there's a lot of time for Avangar to move around. Both Kika and Adren start to get into position. They picked up weapons, but the angle from Mihu's really good there, leaving it on Adren. He's got an AK-47, and he always been spotted. Do you continue to go for this now?
No, I mean, not at all. Take in hand.
1v2, bomb's not planted, I think he's got to go for it.
32 HP, no armor. No
Absolutely,
nades.
absolutely. I think like
What's
if you pop ahead.
I mean, here I
think-
actually think this is a mistake from VP's
wow.
part. Why not just plant the bomb? You know, you have B. There's
Yeah, they're
one
buying
left.
next rounds.
Yeah, it works out anyway for them.
Nonetheless, yeah.
Yeah, that is a scary one though.
Because you just plan, especially them knowing as well where he's coming from. You can just set up. You can plant and even have time to set up the crossfire.
Yeah.
But them rotating over to A, I mean, sure, if he gets the one shot there on the guy dropping bomb site, it's just a one-on-one, and you have to jump over to get the bomb down.
Yeah, for me, I feel like we don't often get opportunity to talk about that, like making a play based on the information you have, i.e. where the player is, versus like rotating and resetting the situation and having no idea where he is. Gives him an advantage. Snatchy, very confident with AWP, takes Buster out. I don't know if there was some indecision there or if he was expecting some cover from Jame, but the T's were too fast apparently. Snack looking around the smoke. You can see the flashes come above for him already, and he'll try to take that connector position. Jame will head forwards though. Not on fire just yet. Tag, this is awkward now. Will he be able to escape? Just about. Jame often does.
Yeah, that's good work. Really important, of course, to stay alive. Adren will continue to harass middle, and actually, they actually end up getting a frag out of it, all things considered. It's quite a sketchy series of engagements, but Avangar at least have evened up the numbers, and they seem to have somewhat of a read as to what's going on here. They are rotating Adren over towards that B-bomb site, so they have a two-man setup here. Sanji, almost with good timing on that nade, a little bit too early. And here comes the play into B. Sanji and Adren both playing from Catwalk, so it will be interesting to see what they can do here, if there'll be any nades to block off the pillar position. Sanji with the first one, and Adren's back there as well. And they really are slowing this round down. 30 seconds, they must get this bomb down. This has to be successful. And there we go, bomb's planted, and the retake commences.
VP still have the high ground, really important in this situation. Snatchy going wide, he'll get traded, but Snacks is alone now. The scope has surely been heard, looking for the first engagement. If he stands on a lip of the balcony, he can see into the window. Moves beyond that position, and well, they need to figure out where he is at first. If they are able to do that, then it's going to be a lot harder. 9 HP for Snacks. That smoke will actually maybe help him out, because there's no cover for Kika. Doesn't realize the bomb's still being defused at the moment, and he'll eventually be traded, and that's only the second round for Avangar. 10-second defuse, no less.
Good work from them. Good guess as well.
Yeah.
And in regards to how they set up the B-bomb site.
Pretty good retake. No nades left. Took it easy. Nice little plan from VP2. They're actually playing quite well, I'd say.
Yeah, they're playing really well. Individually, they look really sharp too. Like Snacks especially, like he's looking quite lethal. And that's really cool to see. I mean, it looks, I haven't seen Snacks play in like months, I think since the last ECS season. So
No, I mean, it's the same, yeah. I know that VP just signed officially PHR, I think. Yeah, I think it was just a trial before, but he's officially on the roster. So at least they have a 5, you know, that they've been playing with.
I was wondering, if you put Classic Virtus.pro all together, with what they've learned from different teams and new straps, I wonder how it would go. But we'll probably never know.
I think I would have loved to see that if everyone was still active. You know, we haven't really seen Pasha play for a few months. Taz has been playing. Ooh.
Yeah,
But we
Virtus.pro
haven't really
definitely.
seen that much from him.
Definitely playing in this round. Jame trying to hold things down from that jungle position. Snatchy by the bench. That smoke won't come fast enough. And Adren keeps it doable. The bomb's not planted just yet, so this is a really ropey round now for Virtus.pro. And it just gets worse. Avangar starting to stabilize now, perhaps caught off guard by a Virtus.pro who have been quiet of late. But now they've broken the money for Virtus.pro. There was no bomb plant for them, and Avangar can start to build.
Yes, and it's taken them a while to get there. But I think indeed the double ults is going to be, it will offer a new challenge for Virtus.pro. So Avangar looking to create that resurgence, and Kikit will be on the MP9. I'm curious what he'll get up to. Looks like he's just playing the A bomb side alone here. So once again, Avangar 3 towards B, and they may have a good guess here. We'll have to see if Virtus.pro continues to be through the B apartments. So interestingly, they backed off before the point when I think they would have been heard by the CTs. So I'm not sure if they were trying to give sound cues to suggest that they're setting up for a B play, but they didn't even leave anybody in the B apartment, so to me that suggests that they weren't trying to
this
to do
looks like a
anything other
little
than.
bit. Yeah, this looks like a little bit of just an existence timeout.
Yeah.
Just taking their time, talk about it, have them waste some nades on the CT side.
Yeah.
I think this is super dangerous for VP in a sense of not buying anything at all, letting Avangar getting even more economy here. I think that once that Avangar gets their economy up and running, I think that for VP, they're going to have a very hard time getting some more T rounds here on the board.
Yeah.
I think they've been very successful because of the fact that Avangar just haven't had a lot of utility to try and defend the bomb sites. Here we go, trying to get a bomb down. Just not going to happen.
Pretty clean. Pretty clean.
Snax tries to get something out of this. Avangar hunting. Looking around, no one paying attention in the connector. But no harm done on this occasion. It's Keycat with the MP9. The MP9 can often be found around the pillar on B for Avangar on the CT side, but it seems they'll switch up to rifles. Now, we're getting late into the game. It's round number 11, and the money is comfortable. Keycat will pick up the M4A4 on this occasion. They'll continue with the double AWPs. Buster maybe still going under the radar as a second sniper for Avangar, but he proved pretty dangerous at Blast, and maybe he'll continue to here at ECS. CJ carefully looking over. Flash to peek top mid. In the meantime, Virtus.pro going for a setup. This has worked for them. It's worked for them early on. We'll see what the response is. There was one round where Keycat went deep. You see the smoke grenade under the shadow position once again. But we'll see if he tries to punish them clearing it, or if it's just to waste their time.
Yeah, we saw the best punish in the major when they could do the boost from the CT spawn side, but there's only one player there, so they can't boost here. But as you say, maybe they can waste more time. And it's actually a move, two players going towards stairs here for VP, trying to take some forward positioning. Speaking of which, in goes Keycat, but he'll get taken down as well. Looking really good on the frags for Virtus.pro. Buster and Sanji just trying to save this, and what is this, like kissing in the smoke? Sanji and Veggie.
Yeah, one of them had to have realized what was going on there. They're too scared to spray. And that makes it somewhat doable for Avangar, but you could see Sanji, some hesitation. Jump peek might save his bacon just about. See if Snax chooses to hunt. Running away, but 4 rounds on the board. It's improving for Avangar. We're about to hit 7 for VP, but it was looking pretty scary at the beginning. But again, I think this is a perfect storm for a potential upset.
Absolutely, and I think this is a great call from VP, knowing that Avangar has double op setup. What's better than to just do an execute on a bomb site, not really letting these double ops, just getting the entries that Avangar so desperately want. Good hold as well from VP. I mean, we saw here Avangar did try and retake.
Yeah, VP have been good at getting some forward positioning, and also they've been consistently getting kills through the smokes, like pretty damn reliably as well. There's always like one, and sometimes two actually, and that just crushes everything for Avangar.
Nothing doing top mid on this occasion. Virtus.pro keeping it simple. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Do it until it works. But this time the CTs are close. They've made a change, and they could have put a smoke or something into that, then that's going to be a problem. That's going to ruin the execute. So Virtus.pro are going to have to go for a plan B, which looks like a split of the A bomb site. Got 2 players rotating into mid now, while there's plenty of attention on A for Avangar.
I actually think this was on purpose from VP, because they had the guy on B the whole time to just fake it, so Avangar wastes a bunch of nades.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be an A split here, I think. Here we go. One of the VP members is still a little bit too late for this. It's a little bit desynced. I think it could have worked out otherwise. It's a shame. It was actually a really cool round, but I think that not having any nades when they go into connector, they losing that initial entry, and you still had this one guy from VP and T spawn, kind of really hurt you in that round. But idea was really cool nonetheless. As soon as VP faked that A bomb site, you saw Avangar just throwing every single nade they had almost.
Molotov did not go deep enough, so there should be a trade kill here from Keycat. Bombs on the floor again. 35 seconds. Wasn't sure who he was, but now he's exposed, swinging wide into Buster's position. That's awkward if you're coming through connector on the T side. If you're trying to clear jungle, then you are exposed to a player in the shadow position as well, so which one do you look for? It's a 50-50, which can be quite painful.
Yeah, I do like that round as well as a punish. In terms of when you expect that the CT side to not have a lot of utility, and also in terms of if you've conditioned them to fear your set pieces, they're going to be much more likely to dump everything immediately. So it's yeah. pretty cool game plan from VP we've seen so far, I agree. And Avangar will still be with a good buy here with the double orbs and everything, but they do really need rounds at this point. VP starting to get into a pretty strong scoreline, 7 right now. And could it be more? They don't have too much to work with here. They're going to try to challenge this B-bomb site. Sanji's standing large and in charge on the van. He'll be forced to move back. Nice defensive smoke, though. And it's going to be really hard now for VP to break this. Buster able to deliver. Nice flick shot there onto PHR, and it's looking really bad indeed for VP.
Snatchy doesn't even hit the floor before getting fragged. Very nice hold. Great response from Sanji. The usual stuff you see from plenty of CT teams. Put the smoke down, create some space, allow your teammates to rotate in through the door, give them some extra cover. The flicks from Buster though, he is ready. That tag through the corner, nice stuff. That's another round in the bag for Avangar. Again, they got one, they were down 6-1. Since it was 6-1, now it's, well, it was 1-6, now it's 6-7. So this has dramatically changed. They have adjusted, and maybe now comes the real test of Virtus.pro. A good start, but can they keep it up now they've had some hardship?
It's just a setup, try and get the bomb down. See here, not a lot of...
Was it your era of ninjas in pajamas who would sometimes throw HEs over the top, from the CT side, over the top of T-ramp? Yeah.
I don't think that we were the one who came up with it. I'm actually not sure who started it. But I do remember there was an era where we just ended up getting naded a whole lot when we tried to do the executes.
Yeah, maybe it's part of what forced the executes to go a little further back for most of the grenades. It's a shooting gallery for Avangar. They're playing paintball in this round. And they've got all the points. 7-7 as we move into the last round of the first half.
Yeah, really good recovery for sure. I mean, you can see that obviously Virtus.pro, they won the pistol. They were able to convert off of that too. So Avangar, although, you know, they've had some troubles, looking pretty good. And you can see that reflected in the money that they have as well. And, you know, VP, and all things, you know, considered as well, VP's, they've had some great T rounds, so...
Absolutely. And I mean, in most cases, they've actually ended up going towards A, which is where they've been winning. I would have loved to see the last round from VP being that A execute again, because it's what's been working. Wow. But instead, we do see a regular default. It's a shame, I think, that when you do have a team like VP and you are the underdogs versus a double op setup, I think you should just go with something set, you know? Like, running these defaults, I think it's difficult, especially knowing as well that you don't have everything you want. But it might work out. Snacks doing the usual Snacks things.
Yep.
I think he did walk through that smoke in middle there as well, so...
Nice smoke into jungle from him. A safe way to do it. Or safer way. Kika just about spots the knee of Veggie, and he's able to hold things down. This is just crazy. There's action all over the place. We've still got a T by the stairs, which Buster will take out, going from B bomb site to the A bomb site now. A minute on the clock. PHR still has the bomb, but he's about to walk into an angle from Kika, showing some presence. Perhaps he heard him run away. So much to do, though. There are still 3 players on the A bomb site for Avangar. He's made a footstep. Kika's by sandwich. Doesn't look like it was heard. But surely he is doomed. Oh dear.
Nice reactive counter-strike from Kika, pushing a ramp when they lost connector. And that'll be Avangar, 8-7. We'll have to see if they can continue this comeback into a win on the second half. Stay with us. We'll see you soon.
It is time for the second half. Welcome back. It's been a very interesting first half. Avangar with a late comeback, as you can see, plenty of CT's rounds won by elimination after the initial surprise from Virtus.pro. I did think it was possible though, but again, it's good to see adjustment from Avangar. Start bad. I think it's a great test of teams, especially when they're continuously like trying to move up the top 10 after some deep runs lately. And after some success as well, taking that big gold trophy away from Moscow.
Even if the teams there were not, maybe there were some teams that had, you know, roster changes and stuff, it's still impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To come out of the major, being in the grand final, sure, getting slammed by Astralis, but coming back to Blast the week after and winning.
Yeah.
And especially after day one, I mean, I wasn't expecting Avangar to potentially hit top 2 at Blast in that sense.
Yeah, with the changes for different teams, you could say it was theirs for the taking, but you still have to go and take it, you know?
Absolutely, and that's what I mean. Is why I used Gambit as that example, because as soon as you have a team like that performs well in a tournament, like, you get read really easily. Furia is a good example to that as well. Like, you kind of have, you know, if you want to break into top 10, it's just not the one placement you need. It's kind of the consistency. But here we go.
There it is, yeah. 2 quick kills there for Avangar as they move towards that B-bomb site. There's a rotation, but there's no commitment. And how long will it take Virtus.pro to understand that? I think they kind of get it already, but Avangar, with the advantage that they have on the numbers, it's pretty severe. And now there's a lot of positioning that Buster has, which could be to a very large detriment of Virtus.pro on the retake, because you can see how far he is. And also he's cleared so much space, he knows that everything's safe. And that's going to give more confidence to Avangar as they push in. They can go more quickly. They've done a really good job here at manipulating their way through onto the A-bomb site. Manipulating rotations and all that, taking advantage.
I think that's what Avangar does best right now in the scene. Manipulate rotations. I think they do this a lot. Because even there, I mean, it would be given to just keep on rushing B when you get to 2 entries. But Avangar, they would just fall back. And we see that again and again from them. When we think they have the bomb sites, they choose instead to just rotate back, because you always have that lurker that's just completely, like, I think it was Buster that's just completely cleared a bomb site there.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be curious if Avangar are a team that, because they're going to start getting studied quite hard now, but Snacks with a double, and this is part of the point in which, you know, they wanted to guarantee the bomb plant. They wanted to make sure that it wasn't down to individual plays. They wanted to outmaneuver their opponent to really make sure that this round was won no matter what happened, and they've done that. They've absolutely done that, and I love that. I love it when a team tries to look at a situation and says, okay, what are all the advantages we could possibly take? Okay, well, if the best situation is this one where you have to take a few more steps and play rotations and so on, as opposed to just running and gunning, and that's going to be the hardest thing to do, and they choose to do it because they want to have the best approach. So I respect that.
Double scouts for Virtus.pro in this second round. For the CT side, it's a nice opening. Adren barely sees anything. I don't even know how much information he got. There's an instant switch though. Is he just with a P250 now? I suppose maybe he is. 30 HP for him. He's got some grenades to use, so definitely doesn't want to die before using those, but perhaps he can swing wide when they eventually push and take a bullet for the team. He'll be carrying the bomb as well. No push from the CTs though. We've got Kika and Palace with an AK-47. Seems there is some discussion as to what they want to do. You saw Adren was about to throw a grenade, decided against it. Buster trying to sneak in, took a little too long. Where Kikut's standing is where you want to stand if you're trying to hide and either hide in plain sight or knife someone. It's a blind spot when CTs push through pallets.
They're reading this well though. Just Snacks here. Okay then, goodbye. Not anymore. The bomb site completely open now.
Yeah, well done by Avangar to kind of get that information. Ooh, they even have a lurker towards the A-bomb site to take down more players. However, the bomb will be planted towards A. This could be actually quite dodgy right now. Mihu pushes forward. He's going to get traded out. That's nice. There's no one else really to abuse anything on the B-bomb site for Virtus.pro, so they are going to have to perhaps hold on to what they have, especially Veggie having the AK-47. It's a nice pickup, and they've done a lot of damage in this round, so...
Yeah, especially knowing that VP there, having the 3 armor saved from the pistol round, choosing to force buy scouts at armor. I mean, sure, keep the economy low from Vanguard, but didn't really work out anyway. It's like you're saying, Dan, saving that AK would be nice. Also gets the 4th.
James holding on for dear life towards the end.
I mean, that's best case. That's best case for VP, knowing that you don't win the round, right? Getting 4 kills.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid round from them, and we'll see if they can build on it. Both T sides taking their respective pistols. So we've got the AK-47 on Veggie, and the Scout on PHR.
Veggie.
I know 3 different players called Veggie. 2 are in fighting games, with all 3 with different spellings as well.
Oh yeah. So like Vegemite, James.
I don't mind some Marmite. I don't really.
I like Marmite.
I don't F with Vegemite.
Have you tried Marmite peanut butter? It's good. And Veggie, he's actually going to be able to do quite some damage there from Connector. So Virtus.pro really punishing Avangar pretty heavily, although there is still a good movement from Avangar to gain more position and threatening that B bomb site. But now they kind of hold in mid. They're starting to investigate Connector, and you can see that they're actually catching Virtus.pro out of position because they're threatening B so hard with that push out of mid. So once again, Avangar, really good in making things difficult for their opponents when it comes to that. They're threatening one thing, and then before you can really react to that, they've already switched it up.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like you're saying, it's a given call that they're going B. After you have Cowboy, you have to, you lose 2 people there too. It's a 3-on-3 situation. But we see here later on the round, I think we're going to see that in the replay here as well. Actually, it just cut, but BP with rotation, they leave A completely open, and like you're saying, because of the way the Avangar works, they just out-rotate them. You get these peaks and angles that you don't really want.
It's brilliant as well because it shows that Avangar have great protocols. In terms of because you have to have protocols to have a team all react immediately to a situation, and because ideally there's some things that would take too long to communicate, and that's what protocols are really for, so that there's no decision has to be made. It's automatic, and it feels like Avangar play like that. And this should be a kill for Jane, but no, Snatchy wins that battle as the smoke dissipates. Is that consistent? Those spots?
It's supposed to be, right? Because it's a server client now, but I feel like it's kind of not. But he might have also just been watching the radar there.
Oh, possibly. This has worked out for VP. They've really massacred Avangar in middle.
Yeah, this has just been straight dry on dry peeking as well. VP really haven't been needing to use a lot of utility yet, but maybe that will change.
Have a look at Snacks. He's gone all the way through the apartments, and I think they might have a read that both Avangar players are in that mid position. Mihu, oh, he's had to get a frag there.
Oh, and he's by himself.
Yeah, and they won't have the high ground advantage unless Snacks rotates back through apartments, which might be an idea. The bomb's showing on the radar in the middle. I think that's a bug.
About that.
Yeah, it is being planted on the B bomb site.
This is bad, isn't it? A very risky situation for VP. Adren still alive somehow. Eventually he'll get taken down. The spam through the wood, but it's down to Kiko. 1 versus 3, it's definitely a possibility, but he is distracted by Market and will get taken down from Catwalk, and the round will be saved. But some damage done, and the bomb goes down, most importantly, which will allow Avangar, I think, if we check the money, to be able to keep up the pressure indeed. So they're going to have the ability with this bomb plant to just force up a nice buy. It's only really Buster that's not got enough cash, so they're going to go for it for sure. And VP could be in trouble because their money's not going to be great. They got 2 AWPs as well, so if Avangar pick the right round here and they're able to get rid of these AWPs on VP's side of things, VP are going to be in a lot of trouble economically. So this is a big opportunity for Avangar. Sanji on that Mac 10.
Of course. Yeah, what I didn't get... There's so much to say about, like, this team in this matchup that there isn't necessarily a time while the game is live. Buster sprayed down to 9 HP behind the smoke. People know their angles. That's a rough spot for him. 2 Molotovs in that balcony area, and it seems that Avangar still want to push behind this. They've got the smoke supplied pillar. Mihu making his way through, take down Sanji for free. But there is a trade there, as there often is for Avangar, but Snacks is in a strong position, sees the bomb. That can be full rotation. There's still T streaming in, while Adren is top mid.
And the defense and smoke start to come out now as well. Jim has a lot of work to do. He's the most forward player. He's got the bomb as well, so if he dies, the round may be unrecoverable. He's looking to pick his moment. He's got to pick the perfect one. Finds an easy kill onto Snacks. That's the way to start things. Might be able to create some space for Buster to get into position. Buster is in the B apartments right now. Might want to stay there. Jane looking to try to get the kills. They have to get the kills here. They've got plenty of time, and Jane might just see... Oh, it's so close. No idea where Snatchy is. And VP are holding position now as they wait for Avangar to make a move. And they also have PHR in middle in case there was to be a rotation, which also suggests that they don't know 100% where Buster is, but now they must know, surely.
James got the sound cues, his teammates baited for him, and Veggie, he's reading it. Wow. That's a good crouch peek from him. Great awareness, Buster pops up, takes Snatchy out. He knows when one of the last two players is, and he's got 30 seconds. PHR's been top mid this entire time, now moving into the short position. That bomb needs to be collected. They will drop some grenades on it. Veggie's moved to a more passive position, loses half his health, but surely PHR's going to be activated soon, moving deeper into short now. And Buster's going to have to rotate back into the B bomb site where PHR is waiting. He has been positioned unknown this entire time. AWP collected just as Buster falls to the ground. Virtus.pro just had too many people.
Avangar played that really smart
yeah,
though.
That
Like
was sick, actually.
James play, like, he gets that kill a lot of the time.
The way he walks through that bomb site too,
Yeah.
like really listening to VP's movements, is like, it's so smart.
This is,
And for Veggie to even read that as well, jumping in the window. Oof.
yeah, this level of play is so high.
Yeah.
Even the spray, expecting the player to Molotov from middle at that timing because of the, it's just Counter-Strike is getting pretty awesome. Just seeing more and more
There's
like
just so
advantages
many
taken.
minor details. It's
Yeah.
insane nowadays.
It's amazing. I love it so much.
Peaks top mid and in the palace at the same time, and it's just pistols for Avangar. Yeah, the awareness in that situation on B, realizing there was probably cover, which is why Snatchy was not moving from the pillar, forcing the rotation.
Man,
It was like chess that.
I wonder what it would look like if we went back and watched some demos from like 2016 and then compared to how like people play till now, because it's the amount of evolution since then is how the amount of layers that have been added is crazy. The amount of leaks that I mean, and sure, there's a bunch that are, of course, are still exist now, but back then, how many leaks?
I mean, back then, yeah, sure. I mean, back then, even during our time, we looked at where people like to play, like common spots, and then we also looked at how many flashbangs got thrown like during an execute. You know, like some people just throw the one, maybe some people throw 3. So you know, right? Like you kind of count the flash, but then now, I mean, here it's just next level, right? Like here it's like read on to read on to read, and it's like you're saying, it's super interesting because it's so in depth, and obviously on top of that. And it might not even be on purpose, right? But on top of that, because these guys obviously play together, play against each other, and practice against each other, there's so much information that is being shared within the teams that, for example, even the viewers or even us don't know about. Tendencies of players, XYZ, you know?
Yeah, it's just, there's so much cool stuff to talk about. I wanted to add another point, but we were back into the action. Avangar will go for what looks to be a fast play into the A bomb site, just pushing through the smoke. I really like this. And PHR is stuck by Ticket, can't do too much. And there is brilliant coverage here from Connector, from both Snatchy and from Veggie. Finally, there'll be a smoke. Avangar went contact for that initial position. But now they wait. Jamie able to take one down in middle with the lurk. And in goes Avangar to try to commit to the bomb plant, but the counter utility is really causing problems, and those smokes are going to go away soon, and Avangar won't have anywhere to stand.
1 minute 10 on the clock. The inverse plant, a scary one, but there's no spray. Cheese as the T's tries to rotate away. Or reading maybe it was a plant by triple. 3 versus 4 retake, the 4 for Virtus.pro. Veggie just waiting for a late rotation. That won't come soon. Buster expecting. No more grenades here for the T side, and running out of personnel. There's a lot for them to do now, but there's a 2 fast frags, and they've got 1 more by triple. Can they continue to trade? They can. Down to the last man, and that extra man for Snatchy and for Virtus.pro comes in handy. 1 for 1 they go, but for Snatchy it's 3, and it's 11 for Virtus.pro.
Oh, that's a very sloppy retake from VP. They had so much utility to work with, they didn't really use any of it. Even smokes and flashbangs still left remaining from Snatchy there. Could have used it somewhere, connector or even a ramp, whatever, but it works out. You get the round. But look at the economy. I mean, this is still a dangerous situation from VP. And for Avangar, I think Avangar is one of those teams as well. They're really dangerous with their economy because of Jamie likes to save so much. Like, kind of feels like Avangar almost always buys something. Keep the economy in check for the CTs. Very fast round.
Oh, that was close too. Didn't quite correct properly there, but Kika certainly will towards the A-bomb side, and there's the peak from Snatchy. Look at these trades, very fast. And this is absolutely the way to do it around like this. You don't have much utility. You want to take a bunch of fights. 1.5 minutes remains. They don't have really any utility, but it's 3v3, so that they've managed to do a really good job there in putting the CTs in a disadvantage. Snatchy's AWP is going to be really important because he's not going to really be blocked by any bits of utility, so that's a big advantage. But
Ooh.
Mihu's got the angle there. Sanji was not expecting that one. Buster's got a lot to do.
That's a rough angle for Sanji because on short you can elevate that. You can elevate yourself on a little ridge to look in that exact spot where Sanji stood from. But maybe he's looking for a potentially started crouching stood, but they've got the angle already and they're fast enough. Then here we are, 2 versus 2. Bomb's been planted on the A bomb site. Now where does the Dren go? Is he going to go for a crazy rotation or is he just checking the ramp? It seems it will be the latter. Again, no grenades for either side. The trades were really important for both teams, but now it's an even fight. VP looking for info, Buster moving forward, which might be smart because there are Molotovs for Virtus.pro, and now it's just Snatchy holding angles for his teammate. But what can he really do at this point? Unless he's gifted a frag, he's got to fall back.
He had full side of utility there again, Mihu, and he didn't
Yeah,
use anything.
yeah.
He even had a molly. Use
Yeah,
it
yeah,
somewhere. Like, come on, like you're taking over the bomb site. You already cleared with one of the mollies. Where's the rest?
Yep. Yeah,
And it didn't happen. Like,
they both Snatchy and Mihu had like full utility walking into that bomb
Yeah.
site. It's kind of weird.
And we saw the same thing last round as well. But like, to your point here, James, and Dan as well. What a good round here from Avangar, playing really aggressive in the beginning. 25 seconds into the round, and there's already four guys dead, two on each side, and they're all kind of happening in the middle area. But like you're saying, there's low utility. Why not try and do something fast, trying to catch some people off guard, and kind of it works out for Avangar.
It's great communication because Snatchy has the AWP, and so that Keycut knows that he can push Palace when his teammate dies taking the fight against Snatchy, because Snatchy will be out of position, so he can come out of Palace, not worry about Connector at that timing and stairs. So it's just very reactive.
I don't know if you noticed that too, by the way. Buster actually got that revenge frag, and he was actually going to rush out, but he got stuck by the smoke, so he didn't. So he just fell back instead.
Snatchy will go forward in that triple position, spots some of Sanji. Is he able to escape? He isn't. Keycut pops out of Palace and he trades. The trades have been consistent. There are gaps in those smokes which need to be, they need to be aware of those as they start to move in. As a flashbang, Keycut doesn't push just yet though. Maybe looking for a response and fire. There's no clues though, as Virtus.pro still moving into that CT position.
There we go. There's another flash. I think that was from the CTs. And that's not going to really be all that helpful for Keycut. He'll get taken down, but it still looks like a pretty decent situation. Not too much in the way of utility. Mostly smokes here for VP. That's a good HE towards the fireboxes. Now James is called upon. He'll deliver a frag in return, but things aren't looking very good here for Avangar. The CTs are closing. It's all on Adren now. 3 players to deal with. Finds one by the stairs. A big spray. He has to commit towards the push there. Mihu's looking for it. And just enough time for this defuse. It's close, but he's got it. 12-12, and Avangar, a bit of a struggle there.
Yeah, I think most of the rest are on Keycut there in the CT spawn. That flashbang, it's great. He's super flashed.
Especially with the CT swinging with a max 7.
Duration.
That was very much needed. Good use of utility. 12-12, and Avangar have some shortcomings, but it'll be that hero AK-47 again. James will be a little low, but they do make these calculations better than a lot of teams. So the flashbangs start to come in. They'll have people behind them to go for some later flashes as well, which they'll be forced to eat. Virtus.pro forces them from their angles, but still so far so good. Mihu running distraction, Snacks with the flying mag 7 is going to be a problem. Still being contained by grenades and molotovs. And Avangar, they wanted to make a fast play into this bomb site, but they have been denied. Snatchy still alive, 13 HP. Got to be quick. The shadow will help him, and he is able to escape.
Yeah, this was... Sometimes these BB rounds, you just have to like hope and pray that you can get ahead of the nades. But this was not one of those times. They got bogged down very quickly. And of course, they didn't fully invest. Then they have a max loss bonus, pretty much.
They must have been banking on a bomb plant as well, but that's not looking bloody likely, is it?
I guess I'll have 4th round loss bonus, so I've done it correctly. So yeah, Keycut just looking to make this hurt. He needs to get some kills. There's one. He's got the bomb as well, so he can make things a little bit scary for VP. But yeah, one more kill at least would be really good. You can see the money for VP is not great. He has to prevent them from having a round in which they can build cash here.
I think he was expecting more protection of the bomb, but Virtus.pro not looking to win the round in mid. The bomb still needs to be planted. Snatchy makes his way into the palace, which is always a strong position. Again, when there's like 1 or 2 Ts left and they are position known, yes, look at how the remainder of the CTs go into high progressive positions elsewhere because they know it's safe to do so. Always a strong response. And Virtus.pro make it to 13. Again, they're still an underdog if you look at the Pinnacle odds for this particular matchup, but I think stylistically and just where both teams are at the moment, there is a question mark if VP can surprise, and it is still one to be answered. It would be really strong if they could take the first map for sure.
Yeah, first time out here this series so far. VP calling a timeout. Yeah, I mean, this is still very dangerous. Yeah, 13-12, Avangar full loss bonus, and VP really no money here to work with. Like yeah, sure, they have a full set of utility here, and Avangar not really a whole lot to work with. Would like to see something fast from Avangar.
Mihu doesn't have. Well, it's funny because on our overlay we can't see any deaths of Mihu. Everyone else has deaths, but you see?
Oh right, yeah. That's because he's dropping because of the 5 and assist there. He's 23 kills.
That is an odd one.
I'm just like staring at it, like confused.
Shall make a note of that.
So yeah, it's such a precarious position. We'll have a fast play to A, looks like, for Avangar. We've got James lurking in the underpass. This is a pretty classic set piece on the A bomb site we're going to see with that lurk. And will there be a better result here for Avangar? They've made this work in terms of the bomb plant, but they haven't been able to hold against the retakes. Look at all the fire there that's been laid down. The problem with this, when you do it so early, is that the CTs have full utility for the retakes, which becomes really favorable if you know where to place those nades.
PHR looking for someone to stand on Tetris, maybe try to jump over towards stairs, but now he can't see anything. His eyes have been closed. 4v5 retake for Virtus.pro, coming out of the short position, still smokes up on the connector area. Adren looking for a rotation, and he will be rotating towards top mid, one would presume, which will make things even more difficult now. Virtus.pro, do they give up on this round? They're not really trying to do anything too aggressive, and indeed, this is one of those brittle situations where, with how the loss bonus have changed, Avangar, even if they lose a round, they'll still have a fighting chance, whereas it's going to be a lot harder going forward for Virtus.pro if they lose everything.
Yeah, it's still a strange one for me though, just because they've got full utility. It's one of those situations where if you let as long as you hold on to CT, as long as you hold on to jungle, if you let the Ts, and they also would have had connector too, if you let the Ts just fall back into defensive positions, the utility, like they had like 4 Molotovs.
Yeah.
They had like full smokes like that. There's nowhere to stand at that point, and you have safe ways to throw all those Molotovs. So usually, like I think SK in like 2016, they were the first team that really showed that. Yeah, if someone does an A set piece, just don't die. Just keep everyone alive.
Exactly.
And throw the nades in the right spots.
A is super difficult to play after plant with, especially if CTs have utility.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, you waste so much to even get to the bomb side, and Avangar had nothing there anymore.
Yeah, they had
I'm even surprised they even got the bomb down there, honestly.
On to the next one we go, and VP decided to go for the save. They're trying to challenge for middle here as Avangar have a light investment. Just Adren, who's top mid. He's got James with him. He's forced to throw a smoke out, which is not ideal. That's definitely going to be beneficial for VP, because that could have been a smoke that could have landed on connector, for example, where PHR is right now. But instead, that's going to be missing. So Avangar, they're just holding their spots at the moment.
Bomb still down in T-spawn, so we're not going to be seeing any kind of executes just yet.
Minutes on the clock, and it's all eerily quiet.
And this is also very smart from Avangar. Last round we saw a very fast round, and then obviously knowing that VP saved 4 members, just still trying to keep their economy in check, playing a little bit slower, having VP spend a lot of time on utility here. You see, there's not a lot left. 2 smokes, 2 flashbangs, and a molly. On the VP side, there's 1 smoke gone now.
Quick jump peek from Snacks towards the B-bomb side, but not getting too aggressive. They're still pretty spread out. Veggie is, I was going to say doomed, but he's held his position. And that's really strong for the to try and defend this bomb site. If he can stay alive, can he? That's a lovely dink, and he'll finish off the job. That's the bomb on the floor now with 15 seconds left, and this might be too hard for Avangar. They'll get a spray kill, but that bomb needs to get planted. There's no one in CT, actually. And now it's a 2 versus 1. It's been a war of attrition, but there is a chance for Buster if he can get his crosshair on CT.
Oh, it looks like he won't check it, and that will be a wrap. Definitely felt like there was some good opportunities there
Oh,
for
it
Avangar.
was. Oh,
Like,
for sure. I think Veggie now dying there on the first kill there after the molly, I think just completely saved VP there on the round.
yeah.
They had really nothing left, and Avangar had a lot to work with. So, but it's a very smart round there from Avangar. It's still very dangerous here on the VP side. As I say that, looking at the money, they have actually made it at least so they can full buy here again. All the utility they need as well.
There's 3 kills immediately.
Just the
gave them
fact that they
fighting
make it
chance.
so, yeah, just the fact that they make it so close.
Yeah, and they needed those entries a little bit earlier on. But things are starting to get, I mean, they're always challenging these rounds, but things are starting to get, you know, well, VP are about to win this. If they need to find rounds now at this point. And it's going to be a fast play from Adren up mid through Catwalk. Here's the response. So back through the smoke, Adren will go. Oh my goodness, he might actually get out of here alive, but Jane won't. Adren can't find a way to trade that, and that's not a good start. But Kika, look at the reactive Counter-Strike. They know the VP players are in middle, so Kika pushes out, and he's also got a player in the apartments. It's Buster. Can Buster find a trade for that? It will be very difficult. Snatchy's got the AWP. He smoked himself off. There's nothing to do about that. But it's a 3 versus 4 for Avangar, so they have over a minute. So they have created a lot of space on the map.
That smoke for Snatchy is helpful because he can use the corner to hold down a default position. And Palace, it seems, very deliberate, very dangerous, especially with the elevation on the ramp on CT. Sanji's found himself in the jungle position. So, is there a chance to plant the bomb? There's no smoke grenade. So risks must be taken. Sanji moves to try and cover the connector area in case of the peek from short. They're lining up. Does he realize there are 2 people there? Well, he does now because he gets traded.
Yeah, that was good damage, though, for sure. Snatchy's on 10 HP at this point, but he has the AWP, and he's still standing, so that's a big problem. He can hold down these angles. It's only 1 flashbang, and it's on Sanji. And that flashbang, you'd love that to be deployed towards CT for maybe Adren to peek, but Adren's not in a position to peek, so they're separated in this. They're going to have to make individual plays, and maybe it works out. They can't find the killing damage. And Adren certainly can. He doesn't get the second player. That would have been everything. He would have been able to peek back, and I think he would have won it after that. But instead, the defuse comes in the nick of time once again for VP. They've won so many rounds by defuse.
Man, that's a really unlucky here from Avangar 2 being in jungle instead of connector.
Yeah.
VP having a super slow player there.
Yeah, it's always interesting watching the CT retakes and the pace at which they go through the jungle position. You've got to play off of action elsewhere most of the time, but Sanji had 2 jobs to do with no smoke grenades, had to go towards connector just in case there was somebody on short to stop the bomb from being planted. And here we are, it's game point for Virtus.pro. Money's still tight for both squads, but they have overtime at the very least, the Polish side. And they've got some good utility. Veggie making his way towards that connector position. We see the off angle looking at Palace as well for Snatchy. 3 players around the A site for Virtus.pro to start with. Not too focused on the window where there is no smoke at present. We'll see now how Avangar choose to take their pacing. James showing some presence on A ramp. That might invite some more utility from Virtus.pro.
This actually reminds me a little bit of the Avangar Renegades match on Mirage, right? Because I feel like Avangar are playing really, like they're actually playing a bit of a better Mirage, but they're just losing out on some of the fights that they should be winning. Yeah. And so we'll have to see if Avangar will have the same results they did against Renegades, where they just kind of, you just have to get towards that overtime, and then eventually, you know, the more and more situations you play, eventually the individual plays don't become quite as reliable or as important. But this is going to be kind of scary. It looks like they may go contact here, and they don't have many nades, so contact is definitely a smart way to do it. Just one quick flashbang. Snatchy with the flash for his teammate there for PHR, and he'll peek with it, and there's a peek from stairs as well. This is very dangerous here for both teams, it looks like. Jamin Kika open things up, making the entries possible. Oh, that's a perfect timing from Jamin. It looks good towards the safe bomb site for once for Avangar, but Stacks is dangerous as well.
Risks a smoke out to try and create some space for the team. PHR really died for the cause there. Prioritized the Molotov to hold area control so his teammates could clean up, dying to some flames himself. And Mihu now has turned things around, and that will be the game for Virtus.pro. 3 versus 2 as Avangar moved in, but a multi-frag from Mihu shut it all down.
28 kills from him.
Nice. Very well played by Virtus.pro. They had a great game plan on their T side. They made things really difficult. It looked like there were so many spots where Avangar were about to get back into the game in the second half, but they just couldn't quite get it over the line. There was like, I think 10 bomb plants or something. They were getting the bomb down almost every round.
Yeah, no, actually, I mean, I complained about it initially from VP that they didn't use utility on the retakes, but looking at it, if we just compare, I mean, Avangar had a really hard time playing retakes on this side. They got a lot of bomb plants, just never ended up getting any rounds on the board here on the T side.
Yeah, Avangar playing catch up in the first half, adjusting to the plays of Virtus.pro, but couldn't take it all the way. Did manage to catch up. The score was tied a few times, but how about that? A clean 3,000 damage from Mihu. 3,000 plus normal time generally indicates a pretty strong effort.
And 100 ADR, a clean 100.
Yeah.
What is this music?
I don't mind it. It's funky. I like it. Well, Virtus.pro will take the first map of the series. So, again, I thought there was potential for an upset, and they've certainly shown that. I think the maps are good for them in that respect, the nice open maps. However, Dust 2 to come, and with Avangar and the likes of Jame, might not be so easy. We'll find out if Jame and co can bring it to 1-1 after the break.